Hey everyone, welcome to another interesting day on planet Earth. Well, I was up very early this morning to join some magnificent feminine leaders from across the planet in the Unity Week series that comes at this time each year. And the facilitators had gathered about 20 feminine leaders from around the world. And so I was very honored to be considered as that in my own space. So it was an interesting conversation because we had three questions that were posed. And they are, hang on, let me put my glasses on so I can see this. The first one was, what are you up against as a feminine leader? And what is it that you bring to heal? And I shared very much from what I'm going through at the moment. Maybe some of you are also feeling the same, is in these last days of Gemini, and Gemini being the twins, very much we have that twin aspect in us where we have the feminine aspect of ourselves and the masculine. And along the way, I guess all of us in humanity have sort of had that masculine instilled in us to do, to achieve. That being a woman, and I suppose back in the early, in the 60s and also far back in time, the woman was really honoured as the matriarch of the family and very much the caregiver and nurturer. And after the war, where more women had been involved in taking up some of the tasks that men had while they're off to war, were reluctant to go back to being just chained to the sink or feeling like they don't have a role. And so as we have shifted through time, more of the feminine has been pushed to the side, and we're asked to accomplish more in the world, to be more in the world, and in fact, given up some of that feminine aspect of ourselves. I know for myself, I've worked pretty much in my masculine, and it's been a real journey to embrace the feminine aspect of myself and dropping into a little bit more softness instead of the push, push, push. And that is very much how it feels at the moment. For me, is to be able to step back and ask of my husband, I'd love you to support me as I'm going through this very much inner journey for myself and allowing myself just to not be in the push, but more in the flow. And it doesn't mean that you don't have a goal or you're not in the outer world achieving something, but you're doing it from the point of view of listening to your inner guidance. And I've had real experience of that with the beautiful project Brian and I have been working on in the hydrogen space. And it's a very different project, and as I've shared before, because it's a real balance of the doing aspect, but listening to the inner guidance. So doing the inner work. So our creation is from the inner world, and then we do actions in the outer world, but it's not from the push at all as it has in the past. It's been really listening to what to move into the flow and move into it in action instead of being pushing against that. And so that's a challenge I feel, that I've had, as I said, perhaps some of you also. But the biggest challenge, I guess, where we're balancing both is to ask for what we need, because sometimes, especially in the healing space, people are not very good to ask for what they need. And that's not just asking from the external world, but also asking from your inner world and asking from your inner guidance. So the other message I got this morning that I wanted to share from you is quantum leapfrogging. And you might think, what is that all about? Well, we know that we have a past, and the past that we have always is affecting us in the current moment. And so the outer world shows us what we need to harmonize. But we're also asked to create this new earth that we're moving into. And so often ask in our New Earth Academy classes, what is the new earth you're wanting to create? What is the image of it? So it's not just a far off thing that you think, oh, I have this rough idea of what it is. It's actually stepping into, or what I'm calling leapfrogging from where you are currently at the moment and stepping into what it is, or being whatever it is that your goal is. So for instance, if your goal is let's from a feminine aspect to have a loving, supporting family around you, then you need to step into think of it like a timeline, step into the timeline in the quantum field where that you is already being the nurturing and caring mother with the loving support. Or if you've got a body of work that you're wanting to share in the world, step into that aspect of you where you already have achieved what you're wanting. And from there, being able to operate and allow the information to download. A little bit also like if you're like me, when I was very musical when I was younger. And what used to annoy me was I had to practice. I think, why can't I just download all this information? Because obviously, for me, music has been something really big. And anybody that's studied with me knows music's a big thing, and frequency is a big thing. And I love to listen to solfeggio frequencies, which is the true music, to get the true frequency into our beautiful chakras and into all the areas of our body. And so I would always think, but never thought as a child, wow, there's obviously an aspect of me in the quantum field that already has this down pat. Why don't I just project myself into that area and download it, so that I don't have to spend hours and hours practicing? Anyway, something to ponder about leapfrogging into the quantum field and looking at the aspects of you, because we have many, many timelines of possibilities. We've just not been taught how to do that. And so very much if we're moving into a new earth amongst all the debris of what's happening in our world at the moment, then we have to also hold in our consciousness, what is this new world that we want? Because the outer world media, etc., have harnessed your consciousness and have it directed in one area to manifest things into our world. So, and actually bring it form. That's why they keep playing the same theme to you to capture your consciousness, because they know we are creators. So why don't we be creators of this new earth that we want, and really spend some time consciously each day bringing that into the physical reality. And all that is required is for you to step into that aspect of you that's already living in this new earth, and looking around you and saying, is the world around me in harmony? And from that place, if it's not in harmony, if the people are not in harmony, then shift and change it. Like playing with the fabric of time and space, like the building blocks of creation that Grigori Grabovoi shares in his teachings. And so very much this is where we're being asked to play. And in these dying days of Gemini, as we start to then shift into the crab, which is a very watery sign, that where it has a lot of emotion. So we're going to see when we step into the sign of Cancer that there'll be a lot of emotions coming to the surface. So the more that we can anchor in what it is that we desire and bring it forth. And I'm not just going to say manifestation, because I almost feel like that's a word that's so overused. But it really requires you to shift into the reality where you are already playing that part, where you're already existing as that. And that might be something new for many of you to think about. But the more that you get clear, it's a bit like the questions we were asked this morning. What is it that we need? Another really interesting question that came up was, what nourishment do you need, or what will support you in your calling? It was a really good question to think about, because when we think of it as, especially as females and males, what nourishes our soul? For me, I was talking to people about, you need to go into nature because that nourishes my soul. That gives me huge amount of energy. And this morning, in a cold Melbourne morning, I captured some sun in my backyard and took my shoes off. It was a little fresh, but really anchored in. That gives me nourishment for the day. It helps to change the energy around me. And I can do that. I don't need to go to someone else to do that. I can take charge of that any moment. So part of my nourishment is to really get connected with me and get connected with the earth, so that as I shift into the day, it's not from a part of reaction to what comes my way. It's part of I'm creating my day. And the other beautiful question was, what are you being called to devote your energy to create your vision for the future? Well, if you just even take the first part of that, what are you called to put your energy to? And that's really with you starting off each day, not in a robotic, doing the same thing that you do every day, but looking at the point of, what am I called to do today? And that could be as easy as, actually, I need to be in quiet today. I don't need to be around lots of other people. Now, I have the beautiful opportunity to do that. I don't have to be around other people. I can be in my office. I can, be at home, be in the garden and do what I need to do. But, how can you follow that, even if you're having to go out to your day-to-day job, and just how can you be in your space? And it could be that you'd create healthy boundaries and just say, I'm happy to discuss that with you later, but right at this moment, I need to be in my own space, if you don't mind. So some of those are really hard things for people to do, create healthy boundaries, but we're being asked to do that in this balance of our masculine and feminine and claiming more of our energy in this space. So anyway, just thought I'd come and pop in here. Tomorrow we have our new Earth Academy, so I'm looking forward to talking a little bit more about quantum leaping and or quantum leapfrogging, as I should say, and we're moving into some other really interesting discussions that we're discussing, but also touching on the theme that we have in June, which has been around the hearing of the Creator, the hearing of God from Grigori Grabovoi. So it's really good to have that based out about the different aspects of not only how, for instance, the Creator or God would hear, and look at some of that and explore that in the teachings. But for now, everyone, enjoy your Monday here in Australia or overseas. You're in the night of Sunday. And set your attention for this week, how it's going to look, because that'll keep you focused on how you want to experience the energy. And probably the best thing to do at the moment is not to look at any social media and be influenced by the media, what's going out there, because if you don't read it, you don't know. And it doesn't mean that you're ignorant. It means that you don't buy into the energy of what's happening out there. Have a fabulous week, everybody, and I'll catch up with you again soon. Bye for now.